welcome you all to the third segment of this lecture, lecture number 10. So here in this segment, we will be looking at some of the arguments made by capital exporting countries in support of international minimum standard of treatment. So the advocates of international minimum standard of treatment stated that when a foreign investor brings a capital from his country to the host state, then they are carrying a huge risk with themselves. Therefore, some sort of protection should be given to foreign investors, even when those protection are missing from the domestic laws. So here what the advocates of international minimum standard of treatment stated was, let's say your domestic law does not contain sufficient protection for the investor, be it domestic investor, be it foreign investor, then the domestic investor may be content with the less protection in their domestic laws, but why should a foreign investor be compelled to again comply with the domestic laws only? So here their contention is that this basically they stated that the international minimum standard of treatment is again one way, an extension of state's responsibility of injury to aliens. So here also they say that once the host state has decided to admit the foreign investment into their territory, why should they not give an international minimum standard of treatment to them? Now the advocates here question that if a host state relies on national treatment and if it treats its own citizens badly, why should the foreign investor also accept to be treated badly? I mean, the advocates here clearly say that, the advocates of international minimum standard of treatment, they clearly say that if you have a domestic law that affords sufficient protection to both domestic investors and foreign investors, then national treatment must be enough for affording protection to foreign investors also, because if your domestic laws itself give sufficient protection to investors irrespective of their nationality, then that should be enough for foreign investors also. The problem comes in when your domestic laws does not provide sufficient protection to investors, and why should foreign investors all be subjected to that kind of a treatment which nationals may accept, right? So this is basically the crux of their contention. Even if we look at the Mexican expropriations of 1920s and 1930s, at that point of time, Mexico relied heavily on Latin American jurisprudence, especially the Calvo Doctrine. So when Mexico sort of decided or determined the quantum of compensation as per Calvo Doctrine, US clearly resisted it. In fact, the US demanded a full compensation. In 1938, the Secretary of State, US Secretary of State Cordell Hull wrote a letter to his Mexican counterpart demanding prompt, adequate and effective compensation for US investors. So this is known as Hull's doctrine or Hull's formula: prompt, adequate and effective compensation. In fact, the demand for such a compensation actually predates Hull's letter, but for some reason we call the demand for full compensation as Hull's formula only. So that academically that is how it is referred to as, but actually the demand for full compensation predates 1938 as well. Right. So this is essentially the contest between capital exporting countries and capital importing countries. Capital exporting countries want compensation as per Hull's formula, but capital importing countries actually want as per national treatment. So we can see that in American and British claims arbitral tribunal that was established pursuant to an agreement between Great Britain and America, the United States of America. In one case, Robert E. Brown, so the arbitral tribunal explained why there should be a demand for international minimum standard of treatment. If we look at the words of the arbitral tribunal itself, the arbitral tribunal states that facts with respect to equality of treatment of aliens and nationals may be important in determining the merits of a complaint of mistreatment of an alien, but such equality is not the ultimate test of the propriety of the acts of authorities in the light of international law. The test is, broadly speaking, whether aliens are treated in accordance with ordinary standards of civilization. So this is how the arbitral tribunal looked at the question of whether national treatment should be given to foreign investors or international minimum standard of treatment should be given. So ultimately, there's been the Latin American countries was not successfully able to impose national treatment standard, even when the same was discussed in the context of international conferences. Mostly the discussion was limited to military intervention for the protection of a foreign investor. That's where the discussion happened. So they were not very successful in asserting that at least at that point of time in the context of giving compensation to the investor. We do see that this was something that was asserted before the United Nations in the General Assembly at a later point of time. But at least in in the 80s and 90s, what we see here is they were not able to successfully impose national treatment standard. There were a lot of resistance from the capital exporting countries, and they demanded international minimum standard of treatment. And what we see here is now there is no definitive standard with what can be considered as international minimum standard of treatment. So there is no international instrument that sort of outlines, okay, these are the treatments that are acceptable in the context of foreign investor. So the debate eventually shifted from should national treatment be given or should international minimum standard of treatment be given, to the debate shifted to what is the content of international minimum standard of treatment. So the content of international minimum standard of treatment is the last segment for this lecture. So we'll discuss that in the next video in detail. Thank you.